All right, hello everybody. Welcome to my live Q&A for what is today? For July 6th, 2017. Thanks to people that were here super early. There was people in the chat like half an hour before this thing even started. So thanks for coming. Glad to be here. I am super stoked to have a special guest for this Q&A. I've got Vortex. He is the host of the Bitcoin News Show on the World Crypto Network. So, Vortex, thank you for being here. Can you please let anybody unfamiliar, let them know maybe a bit about yourself and where to find you?
Hey, thanks so much, Benny, for the introduction. Really great to be here. Just a quick little intro about me. I'm host of the Bitcoin News Show over there on the World Crypto Network. I've been doing that for almost 2 years now, so I have a lot of fun over there talking Bitcoin. And I see we already got some regulars in the chat, so hi to you guys, and thanks everybody for joining us.
Yeah, awesome. All right. Well, we're just going to get into it. Anybody who hasn't watched this before, pretty much we're watching the live chat a little bit as it goes through. We'll be answering questions from there. And then if there's any downtime, I'm also peeking. The main point of me starting this was I'm having trouble getting to all of the questions that pop up in my videos kind of through the week. So I just kind of pick out some of the ones that I see popping up often and try and answer them here. So yeah, I'm going to get right into this. I'm going to get to, I'm not sure how to say it, Core Mick. The first question, and this guy was in here at like 7 o'clock. He said, what exchange do you use, I guess, to buy my crypto in general, or in my case, Bitcoin? So I'm in Canada. So I use an exchange called Quadriga CX. They are... I'm going to say right now, they're kind of the only game in town. I mean, there's other brokerage type. I guess there's brokerages around that you can go through, but a lot of people are getting their Bitcoin through Quadriga. They also sell Ethereum, yeah, there's that. There are other Bitcoin ATMs. Like I'm lucky in my city, there's like 22 Bitcoin ATMs, which is crazy. Other than that, when I first got started, I used another Canadian site called quickbt.com. The fees are a lot, but if you're just looking to dabble with 50 bucks or something and you don't want to drop a lot of money just to see how it works, then great. Yeah, I think that's awesome. Yeah, and those are kind of the two that I've used, and now I get as much of my paycheck as I like in Bitcoin, so I don't use exchanges anymore. How about you, Vortex? What do you use as far as obtaining Bitcoin?
So yeah, a few different things to say here. You know, there are many different avenues to actually grab Bitcoin at this point. It is becoming more and more easy to get each and every day, from the easy of use to get onto these exchanges, from the almost ubiquitous use of Bitcoin ATMs now in large cities, to even the OTC markets. Everybody seems to know them. That's really great to hear that we're expanding out to the world. There is just more exchanges now in most major countries than there ever was, and it's just great. More exchanges, more ATMs, and I really think that that's awesome. So those are great places to get your stuff, you know, to get your actual Bitcoins. But the thing is that I just want to emphasize this for everybody to remember and understand. When you put your coins on an exchange, you do not own your coins, right? Those coins are no longer yours, because the private keys that control that Bitcoin are no longer in your possession. So they are in possession at the exchange. So just be wary of that. Of course, it's okay to leave a few coins on the exchange. And of course, day traders, you know, if you're trading, you can't help but leave some of those coins on the exchange. So there's, of course, all those scenarios. But if you're a you know, long-term holder, or even a mid-term holder, you know, you really want to look into something like a Trezor, to some kind of hardware wallet to really store the coin on your own device. That way you own the private keys to this device and to your Bitcoin. So one more time, if you don't own the keys, it's not your Bitcoin, right? So a very important point. But then, you know, where in fact, that's actually where I get a lot of my Bitcoin, is the OTC markets. You know, I have lots of friends that have Bitcoin, and it seems like I said, everybody knows somebody who owns a little bit of Bitcoin. So I actually prefer the OTC markets and just kind of getting it from my friends. But if you can't get it from that, then of course there's Local Bitcoins, which is a great site to meet up and find people about Bitcoin. And many times you don't actually have to physically meet them. You know, like a lot of times they support bank transfers and other things like that. But it's a great chance to be able to meet local Bitcoiners like yourself. You know, it's really great. And in many countries out there, it's the only place, right? So it's the countries without actual exchanges or where the right. We found that local Bitcoin's volume just explodes, right? It just continues to explode. And if you look at all the charts, the local Bitcoin volumes in Venezuela and India and all of these countries that are experiencing hardships or wars on cash, including India, Australia, you know, the local Bitcoin volume is bam, just through the roof. And so that's really exciting to hear, really awesome to see. More and more people finding each other through local Bitcoin. So those are really the great places, you know, local Bitcoins, OTC markets from your friends, and then the exchanges. And as far as exchanges, you know, it depends on your level of what you want to do, right? If you want to do some trading, then you're going to have to go on some actual exchanges, right? Like GDAX or Bitrix, or there's a bunch of good ones. Bitstamp, you know, is another big one. But if you're in the United States, which probably a bunch of your viewers are, I think, really one of the best places then would be Coinbase. It's just one of the most easy ways to get Bitcoin is through something like Coinbase, because you just add your bank account, click a few buttons, and bam, it's about as easy as using PayPal. So those are really the best places that you can really find. I mean, you can get Bitcoin so easily these days, and it's becoming easier and easier. So absolutely great to see that. But yeah, it's great.
Yeah, that's pretty. I agree with you. There's a ton of ways to get Bitcoin. So yeah, I mean, search the easiest way. You can Google Bitcoin and the name of your country, and you'll find a lot of stuff. I want to, while we're at it, I'm just going to shout out a few people that are regulars here that I see. I see Ken Bozak. He was on my last Q&A. So hey, Ken, 21 Million Club. I was on his show. Thanks for coming. Mike Olthoff. This is a guy out of Vancouver, and he runs a website called coincards.ca, so you can buy gift cards with Bitcoin. And I was actually one of his first customers in like 2014 when he first launched the site. So Mike, thanks for watching. I know you've been saying you wanted to jump in here for some time, but you finally made it to a live stream. So thanks for being here. Seasider, Benji. Okay, there is a question here from Iggy. Iggy said he, I don't know. Anyways, still trying to decide whether I should put my 400 bucks into Bitcoin now or after August. Can't make up my mind. Well, Iggy, it really depends on a couple things. Number one, is this money you can afford to lose? Because you shouldn't, Bitcoin, you still need to treat as a volatile and risky investment. As with any money that you know, if you have extra money and you feel like this is money you can play around with and you don't need it immediately, then sure, yeah, put some into Bitcoin. But if you're like borrowing from next month's rent, then that is not a good idea. Yeah, a good tactic that I've found and that Andreas Antonopoulos mentioned in one of his talks is, if you're finding it tough to invest in something, but you do want to get involved in Bitcoin or any other investment, is find a bad habit that's costing you money and cut that bad habit, and then use that money to invest in something that maybe you wouldn't have risked other available money for. But since it's coming out of a bad habit, then at least it's money that you were already losing. So you can look at it in that respect. But yeah, if oh yeah, she says she, is this a he? I don't know. Anyways, Iggy, they say, yeah, I can afford to lose it. In fact, I'm rather used to it. Okay. So yeah, yeah, sure. If it's something you can afford to lose and you're okay with the risks involved, then absolutely. Vortex, do you have anything you'd like to add to that?
Yeah, so one really big, I think, important thing that I forgot to mention is, as far as acquiring Bitcoin, or how should you acquire Bitcoin? Should you spend that $400, that extra $400 you have on Bitcoin? You know, what I really want to mention is, one of the best ways to get Bitcoin is to earn Bitcoin, right? I don't know if we mentioned that, but do what you do, but do it with Bitcoin. You know, do what you love, but do it with Bitcoin. So if you make websites, maybe make a website for Bitcoin next month, or see if go on Craigslist, see if anybody needs a website for Bitcoin. If you are a mechanic, see if somebody wants to do some work for Bitcoin. Whatever you do, right? Try to do it with Bitcoin. And if you just do a little bit of that, even on the side, then and save that Bitcoin, don't spend it and save it. Then I promise you, if you hold on to that Bitcoin, it's going to be worth it. It's good. It's going to be one of the greatest investments that you've ever done. So as far as spending that extra $400, like you've already said, Ben, the most important thing is, can you afford to lose this or not? Because it is early days. We want to stress that. In cryptocurrencies and in Bitcoin especially, it is early days. We have many years of ups and downs to go before this thing is going to just take off, kind of like vertical, like, and hit the top and hit the S-curve. So there's a lot of stuff left to do. We have scaling issues. We have different things, and so just be very wary. Do your due diligence and do your research and see if this is something that you want to invest in. But for sure, if you're not a big investor, you're not a day trader, you don't want to take too much risk. Just do a little bit of extra work that you love to do for Bitcoin, and it's a great way to obtain Bitcoin.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And that's how I kind of started obtaining. Once I found an avenue to do that, I started doing a little bit of work for Bitcoin, just helping out. I actually found local Bitcoin companies, and I just reached out to them on my own and said, well, I mean, I'm passionate about this. Is there anything that I can do to help you guys out? So, I mean, you can always look into stuff like that and just see what's available, or just, again, let the world know that you will accept Bitcoin for whatever you do, like Vortex said. I'm gonna get into a couple other questions here. So let's see here. Somebody, Sundog88 said, "Hi, what is the best way to store Ethereum?" In general, crypto in general, I mostly deal in just Bitcoin, but I am familiar with different ways to store various cryptocurrencies. I would say the safest way to do it is through a hardware wallet. I've tried out a bunch of them, both the Ledger Nano S, the Ledger, it's coming out soon, the Ledger Blue, and the Trezor. All of those items, they support a secure holding of Ethereum amongst other cryptocurrencies. They were originally just Bitcoin, but they do support other cryptos as well. As far as Ethereum goes, because I deal with people coming into the office that are interested in crypto all the time. I've had to look a little deeper into that. And honestly, when it comes to the Ethereum side of things, I like the Ledger Nano S better because the user interface is the same across all cryptos. Whereas when you look at the Trezor, when you go to store Ethereum with it, it actually ports you to an external site, which is myetherwallet.com, and goes through that. So it's a little confusing, especially if you're a new user. I would go with the Ledger Nano S. Vortex, do you have a favorite way to store your Bitcoin? I know I imagine you're mostly just holding Bitcoin if you're holding any crypto.
That's correct. Yeah, I mostly only hold Bitcoin, and if you're a few top tier alts every once in a while, just to get some quick gains. But it's no, Bitcoin is what I hold and what I will never spend, at least many years from now, until Bitcoin is tens of thousands of dollars, right? Until then, the Bitcoin will be sitting on Trezor, my Trezor wallet, right? Then I actually do a couple different things. I have a paper wallet. I almost like Andreas. I kind of have a multi-tier. So I have a paper wallet sorry, let me back up. So I have a memorized phrase for the main part of my Bitcoin savings. So that's completely cold storage and only accessible via a phrase that I know, in my head. And then I have another thing where I have a Trezor, which has a good stash in there if I need to pull out quickly at any given time. And then I have a little bit on, an exchange and things like that. So that's kind of like the main the ways that I do it. But another interesting way to do it too is use something like an Electrum wallet and then back up your private key itself into a flash drive. And then this way you can back up it to a bunch of different flash drives, give a flash drive to your parents, put a flash drive in a lockbox, put a flash drive in your car, and all these different things, and just keep that key there, because what you do, you want to encrypt the key into an encrypted zip file, right? So you put a password on the zip file, then you have a password on the wallet itself for that private key, and then you just copy those flash drives out, and you'll have your money, pretty well backed up that way. But that's a little bit more advanced, and so it's hard to recommend that for new users. So for new users, it's just hard to get around the easiness of Trezor.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. There's some other people asking about what's the. Oh, yeah. Okay. Somebody just said, what is the card-looking hard wallet you were going to try out? So a company sent me this just to give it a go. I feel bad because I've had this kicking around for like a month now, and I just haven't had time to get it. It's sitting here beside if anybody from this company is watching, it's sitting beside my my desk here. And I am gonna do it, guys. I swear to God. But anyways, it's called the Cool Wallet. It's cool. So I don't know. I'll show you what it looks like. Anyways, I will get to this, but okay. So it's like a credit card size thing, and it's got, if you hold down here, it's got like e-ink on it, and you can charge it, and then it's got like a little charger pad that you rest it on and plug into the wall. Yeah, so I am gonna get to this. I've got some other videos I got to do first. I just got my Trezor like about a month ago, and I've been using it pretty regularly. It's actually sitting on my keychain, and it's my regular day-to-day hardware wallet. And I'm gonna be doing a video on that, I think this weekend. Actually, that's my next video. And there's a few other, I've got a whiteboard here with other videos that I want to do. So yeah, I will be getting to those. But that being said, yeah, that's the Cool wallet. I'm going to be checking that out. So I'm going to I think Vortex said he has a question waiting here that he would like to bring up. Can you, do you want to bring up that question that you saw that you thought was pretty good?
Oh, well, yeah, I was just pasting them in there to the side. I didn't have one specific.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I pasted them there for you so you can choose at your leisure which one you wanted to
awesome.
Go ahead.
All good. Okay. Well, thanks for doing that for me. I see a couple. Somebody asked if I'm running a BIP48 node yet. So that's something that I'm in the process of learning how to do. I've been talking about BIP 148 and everything, mostly on the Q&As. I haven't made a video on it or anything yet. So I am running a node. I actually ordered it from a website called bitseed.org. So it's like a pre-made, they send you a device. It's pretty much plug in and go. But I believe that I can make adjustments to that to actually run BIP 148. So I need to learn how to do that, and that's something that's brand new for me. I know it's coming quick, so that's some quick learning that I'm going to be doing this week. So in answer, no, not yet, but I do support it. And I think that actually, you know what? I've got a question for Vortex here, because now that we're on to the topic of BIP 148. So my question for Vortex here is, do you see BIP 148 as potentially a means to an end, like to enact SegWit? And do you care if SegWit comes through SegWit 2x and then we revert back to core, or what are your views on that? What do you think will happen, and what would you prefer to happen, and are those two different things?
Sure. So basically, I'm going to pretty much always side with the developers that have been keeping the system going and running for the last 8+ years. And those are the core developers. So these are the developers that have been keeping Bitcoin running, been keeping Bitcoin stable, literally no downtime in 8 years. Not even any single bank on the planet can make this claim. These people have researched the hell out of Bitcoin. They've been through their blood, sweat, and tears learning this system and learning the ins and outs of it and learning how to program this. Remember, nothing like Bitcoin has ever existed before Bitcoin, okay? So when Bitcoin came out, these people had to learn this stuff the hardware. There was no manuals. There was nothing like this. And these people have been working with this technology literally on the planet. With a combined understanding you have to have of mathematics, computer science, economics, the list goes on and on and on and on. And of course, cryptography, which is in and of itself a crazy field. So so these people have been working on this software for 8 years. Some of the smartest people in the space, like Peter Wool and Adam Back. I mean, some of these, you have to understand that the developers in Core have their names in some of the most important software in the world, right? They have their names right up there in cryptography papers. They have their stuff. These are the people that have been working with cryptography for decades. So these are the people that are cited in the Bitcoin white paper that Satoshi created, right? These are the people that are cited as core developers. And so some of these core developers. And so basically what's happening now is we have a whole mining cartel, mostly this. They do not like the fact that Core, they don't like the decisions that Core has been making. And Core, of course, isn't even a group, right? It's not even it's not a group, it's not a company, it's not a consortium, it's an ad hoc, decentralized group of people with their own individual ideas, agendas, and we just saw just recently we just saw Luke Dash Jr., right, one of the Core developers, fighting with, who was he fighting with?
Greg Maxwell.
Gregory Maxwell, right? Literally one of the great. These guys are some of the greatest programmers, cryptographers, and smartest people on the planet that are working on Bitcoin, and they're fighting sometimes with each other because, again, there's no Core agenda. The only agenda that Core has is to keep Bitcoin running. That's number one. Number two, compatibility, to make sure that it continues to run even when they have new upgrades, to make sure that nobody is disenfranchised. And so this has been a very, very core aspect to all of the development with Core, right? We want to keep it running. We want to keep backwards compatibility. And so to the outside, this is appearing like Bitcoin development has been moving slow, right? We hear the word stagnation all the time. It's stagnated. Nobody's doing anything with Bitcoin, right? Except that there's so much new technology coming out that I can't even, I can't even keep it all in my head. Mimble, Wimble, Mast, Schnorr signatures, Lightning Network. I can't even keep it all in my head. There's so much stuff that's so beyond me. But now, again, we have this mining cartel, Bitmain, who is not liking this, and so what they're going to do, of course, is they're going to try to fire Core, right, quote unquote. But the thing is that you cannot fire source developers. You can't fire developers that work on free open source software. This is not how it works. These people are going to continue working, whether Bitmain, whatever Bitmain tries to do, right? And so now we have. Basically, the community has been pretty fed up with it, including people like Luke Dash Jr. And so they created this thing called BIP 148, right, which is going to guarantee that SegWit gets into the network. There is now enough nodes, over 1,000 nodes that are running BIP 148, that you can't put it back in you can't put the genie back in the bottle. That is going to activate, right? The only thing that can stop it is the miners activating BIP 141 first. If they would just all signal for SegWit instead of SegWit 2x, would be good. And SegWit has been rising. The amount of signaling for SegWit, BIP 141, good old classic SegWit, has been rising. It's over like 50% the last time I checked. And so this is really great because this might even make it so we don't actually have to have the user-activated software. But right now, as it stands, the miners are still digging in their heels with their signaling that they're going to run some untested, rushed software put together by basically one guy, just because a few industry members, right, a few big, large corporations think it's a good idea. They're like, you know what? We can all agree on this, so we should do this. This is how Microsoft Windows gets built, people. This is not the way you want to build open source distributed network software. This is ridiculous. So this is not how you build, this is not how you build money outside of the state. Okay. By a top-down organization with a CEO declaring things and how they should be happening. It's a very slippery slope. So what I'm in favor of is to keep the Core developers working on what they've been working on for the past 8 years, keep that going, and hopefully get SegWit activated. I believe that there is now nothing that can stop SegWit from being activated. We have over 80% of the entire community for SegWit, signaling for SegWit, a version of SegWit right now. We've all come together, even Jihan, everybody has said that SegWit, okay, it's a good technology, let's get it activated. So SegWit is coming, whether it's going to come with SegWit 2X or whether it's going to come with user-activated software, we're going to get SegWit. And when we get SegWit, that eliminates all the fighting for, oh, should we do SegWit or not? Should we do, nope, gone, activated. Should we do 2 megabyte or should we, is it going to work? Nope, gone, activated with SegWit. All of these, there's so much, fighting and questions that are going to be put to rest when we have SegWit activated, and that's coming. Now, could it get messy? Of course, messy, we could fork. But in my personal opinion, it's going to be a complete non-event. It's going to happen like it was planned for decades. Just like the halving, right? Everybody was so scared about the halving. We're going to have a spiral down to nothing. The miners are going to have a spiral where Bitcoin's going to blow up. But no, it was a non-event. The halving executed perfectly across every single node on the planet. All the miners obeyed on the planet, everything all at once, instantly, globally. And this is what you're dealing with. And so I believe that user-activated software, whether we get Bitcoin through the user-activated software or SegWit 2X, we're going to get SegWit. And in my opinion, user-activated software is the safest way because that guarantees SegWit. And if people are not going to run that, then they're not going to be a part of Bitcoin. And they can threaten all they want with posturing and threats of hard forks. But the bottom line is this. Nobody's going to mine a chain without SegWit.
Yeah, I'm pretty much on board with everything you said. I think that there's a good possibility that SegWit 2X will be the method through which it's activated, just because of the way that I'm looking at like CoinDance and everything like that, and seeing what people are signaling. But I think that's possible because of the UASF. I think that kicked everybody's asses into gear and said, okay, well, we have to get some shit done here. Let's figure this out. And it seems to have, it did come together very, very quickly. But I think that regardless, when SegWit activates, which I think is going to happen, I don't think that people are going to risk a split on August 1st, but you never know. Like, the timelines are tight there. So that being said, if it ends up...
Absolutely, Ben. I got to interrupt you. I mean, absolutely, the user-activated software was the reason for SegWit 2X. I mean, if you look at the timelines, they're all trying to activate right before SegWit, right? The July 21st is when they're going to try to signal. That's literally a week for alpha, a week for beta, like just for a $40 billion network. I mean, no one is going to run the software. I'm telling you, they can signal all they want, but nobody is going to run this software. And if it is attempted to be run, it will fall over and fail, just like Bitcoin Unlimited, in my opinion. Nobody is going to run this software. They're going to take a look at the code, which has been released, and laugh, which people are already doing. It's very important. Yeah. This is horrible, horrible software, and I don't believe that anybody is going to be stupid enough to run it.
Yeah, I think that a bunch of people will probably maybe switch back to Core, or regardless, the next issue of contention will be that 2 megabyte hard fork. That'll be the next thing after SegWit's active.
Always something. Always going to be something. This is just one more thing. When SegWit gets activated, we'll go on to the next thing. We'll take it one at a time. But this is how a decentralized network of money outside of the state evolves.
Yeah, it's always going to be tough, and there's always going to be issues, and it's just kind of how it is. Welcome to a decentralized network. Okay, let's see. Ken Bozak says, "Give me SegWit or give me Litecoin," because they already got that. Awesome. Okay, I'm going to get into some other questions here. Somebody asked, how secure is Exodus, which is a multi-currency wallet? It's as secure as your computer is. You can lock it. You lock it with a password to encrypt it, but I mean, it's still sitting on your computer. So if your computer is insecure, then that's pretty much it. So it's as secure as the password and the computer that it's on. So you probably wouldn't want to leave a ton of money sitting in it. That's just my personal opinion. If you're holding anything long term, then I would still put it in a hardware wallet. Exodus, I do really like because it's got a nice, pretty user interface and it's easy conversion between other cryptos with its Shapeshift integration. But other than that, yeah, I mean, it's more for somebody who wants something simple, easy, pretty looking. Yeah, so I use it from time to time, and if there's somebody new that's trying to convert crypto and doesn't, like, I feel like it's beyond them to be pasting in addresses on Shapeshift or signing into exchanges and stuff like that, I'll just show them that app as a simple solution. Ken Bozak said, what should a noob who's yet to buy Bitcoin but wants to do? Well, you can first of all, make sure you do your research. Make sure you at least have a rudimentary understanding of Bitcoin before you go and just toss money into it. But it depends where you're from. If you're in the US, you can do something like Coinbase and just kind of throw a little bit of money in and play around. If you're in Canada, like I said, I used quickbt.com, or you could check coinatmradar.com and check out if there's a Bitcoin ATM near you. You could go to localbitcoins.com and play around with that, and maybe meet somebody in person and buy a small amount to play around with. But yeah, get yourself familiar with a wallet. Go from that. Another question here, should a noob wait until after August 1st to start? Perhaps. I don't know. I feel like August 1st is going to be a non-event. But by all means, I could be wrong. So maybe, I mean, like this, to anybody outside of Bitcoin that hasn't been around for a long time, this looks all scary. And they might not want to buy Bitcoin right away. But that being said, it looks scary to people that have been in Bitcoin for a long time. I'm not really, it's easy to get worked up on Twitter, but really by next year, this time, this will be over and it'll be something else. It doesn't matter. So yeah, if they're going to put a little bit of money into Bitcoin, then yeah, sure, whatever. And if it's money they can afford to lose, great. If it splits, then great. They get a whole new lesson in learning of they're going to learn a lot really, really fast. So as long as they kind of understand in general what's possibly coming up August 1st, just explain it, then yeah, sure. Dive in. Why quick BT over Quadriga CX to purchase Bitcoin? That's just I just said that as a quick solution, thus the name. Quadriga CX right now, I think they've got a backlog of people trying to get their accounts approved. Like they're getting so many signups because there's been this boom lately that it's just taken them a while to get people signed up, and you can't just like jump on there with no account. So yeah, might take some time. Okay, I'm gonna actually dive in. I'm gonna dive into something that I saw on my videos this week. Oh, I do want to give a shout out to Ed from the Renegade Investor. I got to interview him, and he was on the show that I posted on Monday morning. What a great guy. I can't thank him enough for being on. It was such an awesome interview. And he embodies some of the ideals that I feel spurred on the entire cryptocurrency movement and the whole Bitcoin movement. And he's just such a knowledgeable and passionate guy. If you haven't seen it, go back. It's the last video I posted on Monday. And yeah, it was great. Okay. Let's do this. Yeah, I'll do one more that Vortex posted here for me, and then I see something in the chat that I'm going to bring up. What are your thoughts on denomination change in Bitcoin? So one Bitcoin is realistically closer to gold's 400 ounce. I think they mean 4 ounce bar. I don't know. Anyways, yeah, so somebody's talking about changing denominations for Bitcoin because one Bitcoin is too large of a denomination and isn't practical to use. I think that's going to be tough to do quickly. And also Bitcoin price moves so much. If people get used to a different denomination right now, then it's going to change again in a few years. I think it's not, it's tough because there's new people getting into Bitcoin all the time. And if new denominations keep on being used, it's going to be very confusing. Not only that, but it's by and large, it's not being used as a currency in which things are priced in right now. It's more of a, currently it's being used as more of a store of value, I see, or like a rail. Payment rail, perhaps, for large value transactions currently. So down the line, I think we'll definitely have use cases for saying millibits and bits and stuff like that for those lower denominations, or Satoshis for $1 maybe one day. But right now, I think it's going to be tough to pull out those denominations and use them and have everybody understand. First, we have to get people using it. If not everybody's using it yet, it's going to be really tough to be like, oh, now we're going to use this denomination. What? I just started using Bitcoin. What is this one Bitcoin now? Why is it less? Did it go down in value? You're going to have confusion. So I think we need to wait until a lot more people are using it and understand that it can be divisible. And a lot of people don't even know that you can't buy less than one Bitcoin right now. So baby steps, baby steps. Thoughts on that, Vortex? What do you think as far as denominations? Do you think it's an issue right now, or?
I don't think it's a huge issue right now, but I'm kind of with John Light on the idea of using bits, because there's 1 million bits in a Bitcoin, and it sounds right. It rolls right off the tongue. There's no, you don't have to worry about millibits or kilobits, just bits, because there's 1 million bits in a Bitcoin. And so it's just easy to remember. You can, a few thousand bits, a few hundred bits, a few million bits. 0.0004 Bitcoin, right? So I really like the bits denomination.
Okay, yeah, that's fair, and it makes you feel rich when you get a few thousand bits in your wallet. So yeah, that's great. Yeah, I'm okay either way. Doesn't matter for me. If people start using bits tomorrow, then great. Somebody, Mike, in the comments, you can buy less than one. He was being sarcastic, if anybody doesn't know, but that's great. I love it. Okay. Okay, so I've got something that I want to talk about that I just found interesting. It was a tweet that I saw yesterday, maybe. Oh, no. This was, yeah, it was a tweet that I saw yesterday, but it was actually from the comment section from like early on. Okay, so there's the Tezos ICO that's going on right now. And they've raised some stupid amount of money, like hundreds of millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin and Ether. And, I mean, I guess good for them. They've raised money, but that's scary. Okay, anyways, there's a screen capture of comments, and I think it's from their Facebook page for Tezos. And somebody said, "Can't wait for the ICO." And then Tezos replied, "Thanks, though it's actually a fundraiser for a Swiss foundation and not an ICO." And then in the comments below, "How do you mean?" And somebody else, "What now?" And then they go on to say, the foundation will recommend allocation of tokens in the Genesis block based on contributions. So like, I don't know. It's some of the, and when you get further into this, there's another caveat that if you had donated less than 0.1 Bitcoin, then you get nothing in return for that. And it's just considered a donation, and they just keep the money. Although I think they said they're going to be doing something about that because lots of people did that apparently. So I guess the lesson here is don't put money into things you don't understand. Like it is the Wild West out there, and be skeptical of everything because, yeah, like a lot of people, like 0.1 Bitcoin is a lot of money. That's $250, right? So roughly right now, or 260, depending on where the price is at. But yeah, so $260. If you spent 240, then you've just given a donation of $240 to Tezos. So Yeah, I don't know. Read up on where you're putting your money. There's so many people that I've had that have asked me about stuff like this. And I'm like, well, what do you know about it? And they said, well, I don't know. Uh, Tim Draper is behind it. That's all they know.
Well,
So yeah.
just real quick to interrupt, like Tezos, you know, has raised over 292,000 Ethereum because there's no cap. So there's no cap on this particular raise. So this is definitely going to be one of the more insane raises out there. It's probably, you know, it's just another pump and dump, and it's probably at this point, you know, hundreds of millions of dollars. It's whatever 292,000 Ethereum is, and it's got 6 days to go. So it's just watch where you're putting your money, people. I mean, when there's no cap, that's usually a pretty red flag.
Yeah, and what honestly, like, what platform that hasn't even been created and released for mass use needs this many hundreds of millions of dollars? Like, most companies aren't worth that much, and they have products or services that they already offer, and they have income. So, and what percentage of companies fail in the first year? It's like 98% or so. It's a ridiculously high number like that. And so, and that's companies that have people that are actually actively providing a product. This is like a lot of these ICOs, they're just concepts. They have a white paper with a lot of the time just talking points. So again, be careful, be careful. I'm not saying that some of these can't. Somebody just said we're off air. Are we? I don't think so. Anyways, maybe that's just their feed. Anyways, yeah, it's just talking points, and if you don't have a product yet, like I wouldn't invest in something like it's super risky. So be careful. Okay, let's keep going. Let's keep going. Let's see. I'm going to. Somebody said, "What do I think of EOS?" Honestly, I haven't looked into EOS yet. It seemed to pop into the top 10, top 20 out of nowhere. So I don't know. I'm not paying it too much attention to these ICOs, because most of them, like, they're not going to be in the same ballpark that they are next year. Even in a few months, there's going to be like a million other ICOs, and some of these are going to go way down. It's just whatever the flavor of the month seems to be popping up into the top end of the crypto market cap list. So yeah, I don't know. What, Vortex, as far as what you've seen in the news this week, is there anything that pops out to you that you found really interesting? I mean, like, obviously there's well, I'll let you mention anything.
Well, first of all, there's always something. But first of all, there is a couple other questions that we didn't get to yet. Yeah. Like, one of them is, you know, of course, do you recommend passphrase hidden wallets like Trezor? Well, of course, we recommend things like Trezor and Ledger. Definitely spoke about that earlier if you guys want to check that out. And then the other question was, Tone looked at the LITECOIN charts and predicts that LITECOIN is going to be reaching 0.03 Bitcoin in the near future. Where do you think LTC is heading? And it's like, well, LITECOIN, in my opinion, is a pretty great coin. First of all, it's an absolutely fantastic test net for Bitcoin. It got SegWit first. There's all sorts of people testing Lightning Network on it right now. Some of the great programmers out there are checking this out and running all their tests and stuff like that, which is great. And that allowed the price really to start rising, because it really kind of gave a real good use case to Litecoin, in addition to being a great currency to use right now until Bitcoin gets the scaling issues figured out, because it is a little bit expensive, you know, to send from a wallet with a lot of outputs and a lot of mempool. Bitcoin mempool right now is pretty empty, so it's actually cheap just to send one-to-one, no problem. I mean, we're talking pennies again, you know, it's pretty cheap. But if you have a wallet with hundreds of outputs, you know, hundreds of inputs, that you like a tip wallet, for example, that's still gonna be on the expensive side to spend. So Litecoin is a great coin to fulfill that, and I really like Litecoin because it had a fair launch. You know, it had one of the most fairest launches out there, in addition to Bitcoin. You know, the creator Charlie Lee mined his Bitcoin just like mined his Litecoin, just like everybody else, and now he has quit Coinbase to chaperone the project full time. So he's going back into Litecoin full time, which is absolutely fantastic. He can do that now that Litecoin price is like over $50, right? So that's really great to see. You know, that's really great to see people following, you know, what they really want to do like that. And in my opinion, I still see Litecoin to Bitcoin's gold. Like, we have all of these crazy things like Ethereum and whatever else crap is in the top 10. I don't buy none of that. That's crazy. All that stuff, it's mostly scams mixed with, like you said, concepts and ideas. And so Litecoin is a pretty solid idea. It's Bitcoin, but a little bit faster, you know, with just a few of the properties tweaked, right? There's still a fixed cap, right? There's still a halving. There's still all of these great things, all of these great economics left over from Bitcoin. It's just a little bit faster, and, you know, a few of the properties change. So I still see it as a great coin. And again, one of the most fairest coins out there. So really, if I had to invest in an altcoin, you know, one of them would probably be Litecoin. And it's a great fail-safe and a great hedge for Bitcoin as well. But yeah, a lot of people are kind of coming to see what a real, fair, and true, honest coin looks like. Now, I've had a lot of centralization in the mining, a little bit similar to Bitcoin, but far worse than Bitcoin right now. But, you know, that's going to change as the price goes up and more people see dollar signs, more people see opportunity to be able to mine this coin, to be able to do things with this coin, to build things on top of this coin. And then, of course, when we have the Lightning Network, well, then we can get completely atomic swaps from Bitcoin to Litecoin. I mean, I can send you Litecoin that can then send Bitcoin. I mean, I can send you Litecoin and you'll receive Bitcoin on the other end. Like, it's... When you have the Lightning Network, the possibilities are really endless at that point. And it's going to bring even more value to something like Litecoin when you can switch out of it and swap out of it atomically with Bitcoin without the need for an exchange. So that's pretty cool. So yeah. Litecoin is pretty cool. We see that. And then the final question was thoughts on Craig Wright.
Oh, God. I knew somebody's going to bring that up.
Just going to make it real quick, dude. The guy's a freaking scammer. He is a fraud. Beyond fraud. He is one of the largest known frauds right now in Bitcoin. Absolutely fraudulently fraud. I mean, this guy is the freaking king of it. He's run several frauds beforehand. You can look it up. You can Google all the terrible things that this dude has done over the course of his lifetime. And for anybody who doesn't know, he is a fraud. And anybody who talks to him or promotes him or puts him on a freaking conference and does not disclose the fact that he is a fraud is complacent in that fraud. So wherever this guy goes, don't go. And if anybody is hosting this guy, don't go to that conference.
Awesome. I will just say ditto. And I'm also going to just toss this out there. Go over to the website cryptograffiti.com, I believe. Either way, Google crypto graffiti. There's a great shirt that the person running that website just made, and I'm gonna buy it because it's hilarious. And it says, "We are all Satoshi," and then in brackets, "except Craig Wright," and that is awesome. I want that shirt so bad. So anyways, crypto graffiti, if you happen to see this, good job. Fantastic idea.
I want one too, man. I want one too. That crypto graffiti, if you're listening, dude, you got to send one over to me. I will wear that on my show too. That was an amazing tweet, an amazing shirt, and thank you so much, Benny, for bringing that up.
Yeah, I think it's hilarious. Yeah, I'm gonna get one. Either way, they've got great other shirts. I think they've got like the some of the big banks, but replaced with the letters BTC and stuff like. Anyways, crypto graffiti, they're awesome. I've gotten a couple shirts from there. The other thing, yeah, I'm gonna leave Craig right alone. I think it's. I don't know why we're listening to anything he says anymore, and I, for one, am not going to, because I already know what he thinks, and I fundamentally disagree with everything.
I mean, he's literally saying that SegWit coins aren't Bitcoin. SegWit coins can get stolen. I mean, the amount of FUD being produced by one man. I mean, it's even greater than Roger Ver. Like, I thought Roger Ver was pushing FUD, but damn. Since Craig Wright has gotten back into the space, man, he's kicked that shit up a notch beyond Roger Ver.
Yeah, I'd agree there. Okay, cool. I'm going to do about 10 more minutes and then I'm going to start winding down. I did want to give a shout out, Ken in the chat here. He was on last time. He's going to be doing an interview with Ryan X. Charles. And I did want to bring this up because I've been seeing a lot of Ryan's tweets, and he was at the Future of Bitcoin conference that Craig Wright was at. And I think that obviously Ryan himself is a smart guy. Like he was an astrophysicist. No, not astrophysicist. What he was literally studying rocket science, wasn't he?
I believe it was physics. I don't believe it was rocket science. I believe it was physics.
Yeah. But he's a very, very intelligent person. But I very much disagree with his stance when it comes to some of the Bitcoin scaling stuff. That being said, I've chatted with him briefly, and I'm looking at talking to him as well. But Ken is going to be chatting with him on his show. So yeah, if you get the chance, check out Ken Bozak. He'll be talking to him. I'm not sure when. I think in the next week. But anyways, should be interesting just to hear. Even when I don't agree with somebody, if they're presenting their ideas in a way that is fair, then I like to listen to the opposing view. Vortex, I saw earlier this week you gave a shout out to Eric Voorhees, and I know that you don't agree with everything that he says, but you said shout out to him for not blocking you regardless of the fact that you guys sometimes get into it. And I want to echo that because I think Eric Voorhees consistently has been one of the most level-headed people in crypto, in the fact that he's willing to admit when he's wrong. He's willing to listen to the other side. And whenever he is tackling an issue, he does try to see both sides. And usually he's never super, super far on either side of the fence. He always tries to at least keep his foot on one side to see where the other people might be coming from. Because fundamentally, like all of us, I won't say all of us, but the majority of people in Bitcoin have common goals. They see a need for a better system than the current financial system that we have. And it's unfortunate that there's a lot of this infighting because of how we scale. But it's just a difference in how people see the issues. You have one side that sees, if we don't scale, then we lose this chance and something else is going to supplant Bitcoin. On the other side, we have a side that's saying, if we don't do this right immediately, then it will be co-opted from the inside and we'll lose that chance again. And both are valid views, but you've got to be careful that you don't lean too far either side, because it's true. Like if something comes up that is it's going to be tough to overcome the network effects and the first mover advantage. But that being said, it's not like it cannot ever be done. But at the same time, you have to be careful with development, and you have to do it right. And we've only really got one shot at it. I know there's a lot of cryptos out there, but it's very easy for there to be like a bank coin or something like that spreads like wildfire, and maybe maybe a less than altruistic type of Bitcoin be mass marketed to the public. So yeah, you got to be careful there. I just appreciate that Eric Voorhees is a pretty level-headed individual. I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
Well, there definitely will be a corporate coin. And there definitely will be Bitcoin. So, I mean, this is the powers that be are not going to let their power up so easily, right? I mean, like I say all the time, we are stealing fire from the gods. We have stolen the ability to create fight. So there will be corporate coin / government coin. Probably it'll be government coin, corporate coin, and then Bitcoin. And of course, you can guess which coin is going to have the most privacy and the most freedom. And that's going to be Bitcoin. So in my opinion, of course, a mass amount of people are going to be fooled into the other two. But eventually, with the huge markets and the huge opportunities and the huge wealth that will be built on the coin with the most privacy, therefore allowing the most innovation, will completely trump and will completely devour any and all competition over time. It won't take long.
Yeah, that's true. Once there's an option and people can do one thing with one option and can't do it with the other, they start to ask questions why. And that's when people start to educate themselves. Yeah, I agree with that point. I think it's just a matter of probably, you know, being set back because of something like that. If we're not on top of our shit, it's going to be an interesting 5 to 10 years coming up. But it's also going to be a very exciting decade coming up. Okay, I'm going to wrap this in just a moment here. First of all, I'm going to give another quick shout out to some of the people here. Again, 21 million, Ken, Mike, who else do we have here? ZZ Sniped, The One, Iggy, Timothy, yeah, Alex, Derek. Thank you guys so much for popping in here. It's always awesome seeing a ton of people watching and joining in, and it's cool to interact with you guys. I'm going to say, Vortex, thank you so much for coming on. I love having guests on the show. I love being able to kind of go back and forth between us and chat. So that's awesome. And 21 million said, when are you guys coming on my show? 21 million, shoot me a message. I'll gladly come back on and say, hey, yeah. Anyways, Vortex, can you tell everybody once more, where can they find you? Twitter, YouTube, all that good stuff.
Sure. So again, thanks for having me, Benny. Yeah, you guys got to check out all of Benny's videos. He's got a lot of great stuff. This is a lot of great stuff for new people and for people who are in the space as well. It's really great. I love the cinematography, and I love all the stuff that you're doing there. Having a lot of great guests on, of course, Edward, the Renegade Investor. He's a regular on my show. So, you know, definitely microphone as much as possible. He has a lot of great things to say, a lot of information, and just a lot of great points. And of course, he says it with a British accent. So that is absolutely great. So to find out what I'm doing, I'm pretty much my whole life with Bitcoin is pretty much on Twitter. So you guys can always follow me at the one Vortex, all spelled out, no numbers, just at the one Vortex. And then I am the host of the Bitcoin News Show on the World Crypto Network YouTube channel. Shout out to all the great guys over there making content: Thomas Hund, Gabriel Devine, Tone Vase, you know, Blake Anderson. There's a lot of great people. Of course, Chris Ellis. Doesn't make as much content anymore, but he's out there in the community, and he is, you know, he's out there and he's listening, and he is behind the scenes helping Bitcoin, in my opinion. He's been doing a lot of great stuff. So just everybody over there is just off at the World Crypto Network. So shout out to all of them. And yeah, that's about it.
Awesome. All right. Well, guys, thank you again so much for watching. Please, if you get the chance, hit that like button, give it a share afterwards. And I will see you guys next time for next week's video, which I think is going to be Trezor how-to for anybody who hasn't used one yet. And then I'll do another one of these at some point next week, perhaps with another guest. We'll see who's available. But anyways, Vortex, thank you once more. Thank you, everybody. And I will see you guys later. Have a great night.